There's only one way and only one way to create momentum. That's to hit and exceed short-term targets. Then what you do is to create short-term, daily, weekly, short-term targets and hit and exceed them consistently.
Hello, and welcome to the PSI Podcast, a podcast for you to explore where a life lived with purpose meets transformation. Each week, we will bring you powerful insights, inspiring stories, and real-world tools for you to break through your limitations, unlock your potential, and live the life you are meant to. I'm your host, Tim Bowen.
And I am your co-host, Mackenzie Kelly. For more than 50 years, PSI Seminars and PSI World have helped thousands of people create the life they deserve to live. And now, it's your turn.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to the PSI Podcast. My name's Tim. I'm joined, as always, with the one and only amazing Mackenzie Kelly. And today, we are continuing our conversation with Kelly Poulos. If you don't know Kelly, Kelly is a world-renowned elite performance coach, a best-selling author. She's been all over the world, has coached folks in achieving incredible results, and we are so glad to have her back with us again today. And so if you didn't hear our last conversation with Kelly, I strongly suggest you go back and listen. However, you're here now, so be in the moment and just join us in this fun conversation. So Kelly, thanks for continuing this conversation with us. You know, you alluded at the end of our last conversation about getting into a conversation around the game worth playing concept. So I'm just going to hand it over to you and, tell us what that is all about.
Well, thank you, Mackenzie and Tim. It's always fun to talk with young people who are changing the world. And this is standing in the future and committed to having it be a world that works for a maximum number of people. So know that I appreciate and have always appreciated who you are and what you do. So we're going to do, a couple of things here, but I want to start with the premise on this is what is winning. So I talk a lot about winning, and I want to clearly define what I mean when I say I won. Most of us are brought up to believe that success or winning means we produced more of something than other people, or we produced at a higher standard than other people. We ran faster, we made more money, we had more degrees. It is measurable. So most of us have been raised to believe that winning equals result. End of the story. So if I have those results, then I won. And if I don't have those results, then I lost. Now, I get that. I lived most of my life that way, running from one result to the next, to the next, to the next. When I started doing personal development work in the 70s, I did not start to do that work because I needed to learn how to produce results. I was on that train morning, noon, and night. I knew how to produce results. But the level of satisfaction I had was extremely low. And the only way to have a couple of moments of, wow, that was great, was to produce another result. Now, again, I'm not saying that that's right or wrong. I'm just saying it's not the experience I was looking for. There's an old song, you guys are too young to even know about it, called Is That All There Is? And I was having daily, is this all there is moments. I was producing very well. I was very successful in my management career, but the experience I was having was not one of fulfillment for myself and, frankly, for the people around me. There's nothing more annoying to the people around you if you are the only way I can feel good is to have a result. If you're having a bad day and not producing result, you are no fun to be around. And I can promise you I was no fun to be around on those days. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm still very committed to elite performance. I still very competitive. I still want to make things happen. But as a result of beginning to do the inner work, I had done the external work, the execution work. I had learned how to do what I did really well. But I had not done the inner work. And it was when I began to do the inner work that everything shifted for me about what is winning. And so to me, this is the quote that you often see as that I have, and Tim's had it, if we could find it, if you put it up there. I won't remember it exactly, but the gist of it is, find a game worth playing. And once you find it, devote yourself to it. And the quote is much better and much more inspirational than that. But that really touched a nerve for me. And the shift for me was not just find a game worth playing. The shift for me, because of the internal work I had done, was create a game worth playing. And once you've created it, aspire to it, true up to it. Now, why does this matter? Because the way I define winning is a game worth playing. Two equally important components. On the right, the one that the whole world agrees is a component of success, which is results that can be measured. Now, remember, when you're talking to me, I'm not a relationship coach. I don't do that. I think it's great. It's just not what I do. What I do is work with people on elite performance on things that can be measured. So when I'm talking, it's in this context. Does it work in personal relationships? Somewhat. That's kind of dicey. You know, my husband doesn't want me to be like coaching him. I can promise you that. You know what I mean? It's a different deal. So the two equally important components on the right side of that matrix is results that can be measured. I said I was going to do two, and I did two or more. Mathematical, black and white, no assessment needed. That's where traditional learning, education, etc. stops. Through personal development and inner work, an equally important component, and I'm going to assert the source of personal power became available to me. And that would be a powerful experience for myself and people around me. And so when I say I won, it means I produced the result and I created a powerful experience for myself and the people around me. That is what I aspire to. And in a minute, we're going to show a matrix here. So top right-hand corner, you can see that. That's what I just described, which is game worth playing, great results, plus a powerful experience for yourself and others. Now, the preamble to this, Mackenzie and Tim, is at any given moment in time, you're in one of these four quadrants. So this model is a practice. So in the previous recording, if you didn't see it, if you didn't listen to it, go back and listen to it. But this model is a repetitive, effective practice, a way to stop and identify where you are. What we true up to is the top right hand. Sometimes we get there, sometimes we don't. But if we say we won in this model, it's because we produced the results and we produced a powerful experience for myself and others. Bottom right hand, let's go to the bottom left. This is the dead zone. Low results, low fulfillment, you're not in the game. Quit kidding yourselves. Either quit or remember that commitment is a renewable resource and find a reason to care. Bottom right-hand quadrant, the one that most people who are successful by the world standards, not elite, but successful by the world standards, identify with, which is the grind. This is the grind zone, which is I do it well, but there is a personal cost. And to be honest with you, there are times during every journey, every accomplishment that we got to grind. The difference is when you identify it that way, it lessens the resistance to grind. Because when you're beginning something, and this is what you're interested in, Mackenzie, that stage one, it's a grind. And so we got to contextualize it so that we can stay into the grind long enough that we create momentum. And we'll come back to the grind in a minute. I'm going to collapse those two little bit so that we can, discuss it. Upper left-hand quadrant. This is, my results aren't very good, but I really love it. So I'll give you an example. So it's like, I love this. I'm growing my skill. I don't let early results stop me. So my passion, one of my hobbies is cooking. I just love to cook. It's so fun. And when you try new recipes, when I try new recipes, very often the results are not that good. But I don't care. I'll just keep doing that recipe until I get good at it because it's a passion for me. I love it. I enjoy it. I'm growing that skill. So sometimes people categorize that quadrant as negative. Don't let them do that. That's not what I mean. What I mean is this is where I'm growing. We don't move from I'm learning to I'm an expert because we snap our fingers. So the game here is stop and look, and that's the practice, and ask yourself, where am I right this minute? So let me stop. Talk to me, guys.
Are you saying where am I right this minute is in like where am I right now or where am I correct?
No. Thank you for the language interruption there. I'm assessing where I am right now.
Okay, got it.
And that's a practice. And I feel like that should be done if you've got a goal, a game worth playing that you're working on. I think you ought to be doing that weekly.
Yeah.
If not more.
I mean, I love a point A check-in, and we have a lot of different ways that we do that, but this is just such... I really enjoy hearing your perspective of the growth zone because in my mind, like the two opposing quadrants, it's like, okay, great results, the way I, make sense of it. Great results, I'm miserable, my family's miserable.
Good.
Right. Then the other one, I was like, oh, I'm having a blast, but I have no results. And that's the way I used to say it. However, now that I'm rehearing that it's growth, it's like, okay, but this is my compelling why. I love it, and I'm not great at it yet. However, I'm going to keep going because it's like, it's that drive, it's pulling me. And
that's
so
very good. That's very good, Mackenzie.
It's fun over there now. It used to be like,
very good.
Oh, great, everyone's happy, but have no results. But no, we're learning.
Yeah. Well, we're growing. Now, listen, I would say to you, so first of all, I want to come back to you, but when I heard you, I need to make sure people understand the growth zone doesn't apply to everything. It applies to things you want to get good at.
Mm-hmm.
So, you get me down in the bottom lower one, which is low results, low satisfaction, because really you don't care. Okay. So the growth zone is, I'm not that good at this yet, but I want to be good at it. And I'm going to keep doing it until I am good at it.
It's the opportunity.
Yeah, that's the why, that's the care, that's the passion.
Yeah. It's sincere for me. I like to cook. This is not rocket science. I like to cook. And I'm going to keep doing that until I get that recipe, until I get good at it.
And then move on to the next recipe.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do. Yeah. So when I was talking about that, where is it that what were you remembering when I was talking about it?
I actually remembered we had an event years ago in Las Vegas, and I'm blanking on the title of the event with PSI. However, you were there and you were on stage, and I remember you talking about, you didn't put it in the same language as game worth playing or short-term targets, but it was about setting goals and these kind of mile markers. And what you said over and over that day was always like, okay, so if this is your goal, and talking about the specific language for that goal, it was always ending with or more, right? So if
Oh
I
yeah.
had
Oh
a
yeah.
numerical goal, and so that was just coming up for me against like, and that's part of this growth zone, right? Like this is my goal right now, and I can still surpass it, right? Because there's just so much
Sure.
opportunity for the
Yeah,
growth.
sure. Well, that leads us into, and they kind of dovetail, which is so. What you just saw was how to say, "Where am I right now?" And the next thing I want to talk about is execution. So now I'm clear about what I set the goal. I know why it matters to me. Blah blah blah. Now what? Well, there are three phases in elite performance, and the first phase is begin. That's simple. First phase is begin.
Logical.
Easy
Now,
step one.
that sounds simple, but people who have the repetitive ineffective practice of delaying or procrastination, that is challenging for them because there's no risk until you begin.
Sure.
There's the example, Kelly, that I heard from you. I believe is that, someone wasn't writing a book because they didn't know the title yet. Was that you? Oh my God. I just remember hearing that. I didn't realize that was you,
I
but
remember this. Yeah. It's like, I did write a book. It did very well in Asia, #1 top seller, blah, 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 blah. But what you don't know is that I talked about writing that book for 7 years. And I talked to her. I think I write the book, I'll do it with Emily. She's my protege, blah, 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 blah. And I just kept talking about it, but I didn't write anything. So when people ask me, what's the secret to writing a book? My answer is write something.
There you go.
Okay. But it's kind of smart assy to say it like that. But the truth is, to begin is everything. To take that first step is everything. And I know everybody who's watching this knows this, but knowing that and acting on it is the distinction between people who are doing okay and elite performers. Elite performers have that rep, which is, this is what I'm committed to doing, and this is when I will begin, and they do. Or this is what I will do every day towards that, and they do.
Well, I think it's important.
Go ahead, Tim. Go ahead.
I think it's important for people who might be, if they're being honest with themselves and they say, yes, I'm in the dead zone right now, right? I've got no satisfaction, no results. Great. It doesn't mean that they can't get themselves up to elite performance, right? But it's like, at what point is the pain enough? At what point is being in the doldrums enough, that enough is enough, and I'm going to begin now?
Yeah, I think that's correct. I also think that at some point you've got to say, are you being honest with yourself about whether or not this actually matters to you or not? If this is something you think you should do or something somebody around you said you ought to be doing, you will never create a game worth playing.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have other stuff to do. Remember, we're being very specific here. We're talking about elite performance. And not everything is a game worth playing. Some things are on the list of, this is what I need to get done today, like you were referring to, Tim. Some things are on I don't want to cook dinner, but oh, heck, my son and daughter-in-law are here, and they want to eat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what were you about to say, Mackenzie? Something got triggered in that way.
What just popped up is what is your experience or coaching for those that are like, I'm in the dead zone, and other people on the outside can see, hang on, I'm experiencing you as getting out of your comfort zone. You're getting results, you're getting that, but they don't see themselves as making any kind of progress. Or I'm like, but okay, maybe your results aren't here, but your experience, look what you've done with your daughter. And they're like, oh, like that they think that nothing's happening.
Okay, well, listen, everybody has a particular modality in coaching like this, a particular approach. So I want to do this with you, but I want you, if you're watching, to remember that this is how I would do it. It doesn't mean it's the only way to do it. It's just, you've got to act in alignment with how you interact with people. And so what I would say is, Mackenzie, here's the thing. This is not working. Now, what I want to say to you is, first of all, do you agree this is not working? Okay, good. So here's the thing. I'm not your mother, and I don't want to be your mother. I have kids. I want to be a resource for you. I really do. And so what I want you to do is to figure out if this is something you sincerely want to get done. And if you do, then let's have a conversation where you will renew your emotional connection to it. But if this is a should for you, let's not waste our time, really, Mackenzie. Because see, here's the thing. As your coach, I'm committed to what you're committed to. This is not what am I committed to. This is what are you committed to. And the source of power in our relationship is not me and my knowledge. I know it looks like that sometimes. Better to have a coach that knows what they're doing, but that's not the source of power. The source of power is your commitment. And then, honestly, I can make a contribution to you. Without that, I'm like your new manager, your new boss. And honestly, I don't want to be. I really don't want to be. So think about it. We don't have to decide it right now. Think about it. We'll talk about it. But it is in your lap to figure out what the next step is. So let me stop for a minute. That's what I would do. I'm not saying that's the only way to do it. But how did you feel about that, Tim and Mackenzie?
I mean, I love the reminder that their committed coach is committed to what you're committed to. And so if you're not in it, then, they're not going to be dragged up the hill.
Right.
Well, I'm not gonna. There are some people who do it. It's not my particular practice.
Sorry, I don't think that's a job of an effective coach. Like if I have a coach, there might be days where I would just wish that you're going to drag me up the hill. Just do it for me. But in the long run, like that's not the effective way of coaching me, right? Like I don't want my coach to be more committed than I am. I want them to work with me on my commitment level.
I'll tell you a famous story that feeds into this. I guess, listen, you're having me on the podcast, therefore you're hearing my bias. So for better or worse, this is my bias. Now, what I hope this triggers for anybody watching is, what do you think? Not what does Kelly think? What do you think? What are your choices? What do you want to act on? But a story that is completely comparable to what you're talking about is years and years ago, Oprah hired, I can't even remember his name right now. It'll come to me the minute we are done with the podcast, a trainer. And the first two sessions, she was late to the session. He came to her recording studio. This is when she was doing her shows in Chicago. And the third session, when she came in late, he said, Oprah, I don't care who you are. If you are late to another session, find another coach. Oprah was not late again. So leading to your point, again, it depends this whole nother subject, which is what is coaching, which is for a whole nother podcast. But the real point I'm making here is being in alignment with your philosophical stance and not changing with the wind about that. When you're absolutely sure, you referred to it earlier, both of you, what you believe and what you're certain about, when you talk to people, they won't feel wrong. And they won't feel manipulated, because you're just saying, this is what I think. This is what I'll do. What I won't do, totally up to you. Make a choice.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's the only genuine way of coming from is just acknowledging, like, this is me. This is my experience. This is what I believe. This is what I would do. Not coming at it with, you should do it my way, or my way is the only way.
Yeah, that's a repetitive, ineffective practice. It's called arrogance.
Yes.
It's called control. And those work for short periods of time, but they're not sustainable, and it's not transformative, it's transactional. Not wrong, but just, again, distinct. distinct. One of the things we got to get to, Tim, because Mackenzie loves it, so we're going to get to it, which was the 3 phases of making something happen. So I already said the first phase. You don't need to write. You know this already. The first phase is begin, and that's a big deal. Begin. Now, the characteristic of phase 1, the word I like to use to describe it is focus and/or concentration. Phase 1, and it's hell. It's hell. It's a grind. So remember the bottom right-hand quadrant? It's a grind. It's a grind. There's a lot of pressure. Using the example of energy in, energy out, there's a lot more energy going out than is coming back in. So it's a grind. I'm pushing. And there's so much pressure that the only way to stay in it, because most people don't, they drop out of it before they get to the next phase, is to organize it in a way that you kind of trick your brain about how long will I be in this hell. And what Mackenzie loves is, and everybody knows it, but if you hear what's behind it, it helps you act on it, which is the object of phase 1, the purpose of phase 1 is to create phase 2. Let me repeat that. The purpose of phase 1 is to create phase 2. Distinguish from how long will I be in this hell? That's a repetitive, ineffective mindset. If you're in how long will I be in this hell, your execution will be negatively impacted. But if you're in that, and the purpose of it is to create momentum, and that's where you have your eyes on the ball, you're still in a grind, but you'll be able to execute with more ease. And executing with more ease, even in the grind, impacts performance.
Agree. I mean, I want to go back just a little bit, but I love the tricking our brain, right? Like, I'm going to go through this grind because it's necessary for me to get to the next level.
My purpose is not to be in the grind. My purpose is to create stage 2, which is momentum.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's faulty in the thinking of most people about this is that they think you just declare momentum. That is not true. That will never happen. So if you're watching this and you think if you wake up tomorrow morning and say, I'm in momentum, you're in momentum, you're not. There's only one way, and only one way to create momentum. That's to hit and exceed short-term targets. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
Now, people who are bored with that have difficulty with this execution. They're bored with hit and exceeding short-term targets. They like drama. They like to say, I'm going to run 100 miles tomorrow. That's more exciting to them, instead of I'm going to run 2 miles at this clip.
Right.
So, but that's up to you if you're listening. I'm just telling you how this works. And if you want to use this model, then what you do is to create short-term, daily, weekly, short-term targets and hit and exceed them consistently. And then one day you'll wake up. It's a phenomena. You'll wake up and you are in momentum based on the energy that's coming in, not just the energy that's going out. But it's not something that you declare. It's something that you create, that you generate based on hitting and exceeding short-term targets. Now, part of the secret of being in that stage is you got to have a sense of humor. You got to, if you're working with the team, you got to have, things that you guys do where you can laugh. What you were saying earlier, Mackenzie, maybe put some music on and dance, maybe make fun of it, maybe bitch about it, because it's a lot of pressure. And if you're a leader and listening to this, if you're in stage 1, this is where you are very, very supportive, which is hang in there. Hang in there. I know it's tough now, but we're getting there a day at a time, because there's already a lot of pressure. That coming from the external that way to you just makes it worse. Stage 2 is momentum, which is you wake up one morning and you're there. Very simple. It means more energy is coming in than is going out. And each phase has its own problems to solve. In stage 1, it's not a problem, but in stage 1, the challenge is we have no momentum. And so every day we must get up and create that day in terms of what we're committed to, the action we're going to take, and the mood that allows us to be in it that day. In stage 2, in momentum, got to pay attention to having the infrastructure to fulfill the demand. And so another model here that applies to this is stage 1, there is all supply, very little demand. In stage 2, there's more demand than there is supply. That is the definition of momentum. The thing I've got to pay attention to when I'm in momentum is, can I fulfill the demand? Because if I can't, I'm going to go back to stage 1. Also, in stage 1, it's messy. It's just messy. It looks messy. It doesn't look great. The execution may not look great. We're just grinding. And so we're very supportive as leaders there. In stage 2, this is where it's going to sound like an oxymoron, like a contradiction. In stage 2, because there's momentum, we are more rigid about policy, rules, etc. Because momentum is kind of chaotic. So we want to have some kind of certainty and order in the midst of the chaos. But believe me when I tell you, it's a great problem to have. And this is the goal. Stage 3 is, it's not working. Return to stage 1 practices. That's simple. Okay, so stop. So what did you hear? What do you feel? Like, tell me what's happening here.
So stage 2 with momentum has an expiration at some point,
Great question.
Has an end, like,
No, it doesn't have to. To.
Okay.
If you don't execute, if you execute on momentum practices, you can sustain it. If you don't, it's predictable. It will collapse and you'll go back to stage 1.
Becomes a runaway train.
Yeah. Which is not the end of the world, by the way.
Sure.
But because
especially I think once we have experience getting into stage 2 and being in stage 2 and truly being in momentum, I would hope it's easier to get back to it after returning to stage 1.
It is in terms of execution. It's not psychologically. So this is a very good question, Tim. The reason it's not psychologically is what stage 1 feels like. And do I want to go back to that hell? Which is why a lot of people delude themselves, the signs that we are no longer in momentum.
Sure.
Ooh, which are?
We're not hitting and exceeding our targets.
Got it. Okay.
Consistently. If it's a business, our customer complaints are up.
Right.
Yeah,
So
everybody knows this. Yeah. Go ahead.
That are learning about short-term targets, what is, and they want to get started, like, what is short-term? Is that I set a short-term target for this week, for a day?
It depends on you and your business and what you're up to. I like to do weekly. My business is weekly, so I like to do weekly. For some people, it's monthly, the kind of work they're in. It depends on the goal itself. There's no particular right way to do that, Mackenzie. In the beginning, I think I would almost start daily with somebody just so they get in the habit of it. But when you're doing daily, the statistical probability of you hitting short-term targets every day is not that high, but you get in the rhythm of it. Now, again, I'm going to share with you my particular philosophy, and there's 2 ways to approach this. My particular philosophy, what I'm the play I like is to find the sweet spot, which is when I'm working with a player, and what you refer to as or more, the or more sweet spot. Because I want my player to execute with ease because their execution will be better. Now, that doesn't mean they're casual. That means they're certain. And they're certain about their chances of achieving that. And so for me, it's a negotiation with people. And the reason I say if it was you, I'd say, listen, we're going to do an or more target, which is you're going to actually assign a number to this. And 10 would be, I'm freaked out. It's very high pressure. I don't think I can do it. 1 would be, in my sleep, I could do that. And what we're looking for is a 7 or an 8, where it's a little stressy for you, but you feel pretty certain about it. And that doesn't mean you can't do more. So don't give me that, oh, you don't believe in me. You don't think I can do that. No, that's just baloney. That's baloney. Don't talk like that. Of course you can. But I want you to execute coming from game worth playing, which is not just results. Yes, it's results, but the source of power is a powerful experience for myself and others. So I love or more targets. And I like to negotiate them with my players where I want them fighting for the target they want. And listen, it's not rigid. If they say a number which I think is ridiculous, but they won't get off, and I go, okay, fine. And then we go at it. And if they win, yay. And if they don't, say no big deal. Okay, now this time you got to do it my way. You did it your way. Now let's do it my way. So there's no what's the word? It's not cement. It's a dance. Elite performance and coaching and leadership is a dance. And what I'm listening for is not what do I think. What I'm listening for is, where's the sweet spot for you where you've got the best chance at execution? Anyway.
See, I love the sweet spot as being the measure of where you set your short-term targets, because as you know, you're very close with the great Teresa Corbett, and we work directly with her as well. And so there's been times where it's, what's your goal? What are you committed to? And I say something and she's like, so just like, where did that come from? Like, just curious, I'm like, that's going to be great. And I realized, like, through her support, it's like that came completely from ego. I was not using the scale of, am I at a 7 or 8 of risk, essentially, how I hear it. And it just, to have that support to go, where did that even come from? And it's like, oh, I just,
really good. Well, she's a masterful coach. I mean, she's absolutely, and one of the experts in my work. I mean, she's really great. But, you're hitting a very important point here that let's discuss for a minute, because not everybody agrees with me about this. Some people that you know very well feel that that's really safe, too safe, not how they want to play. Mm-hmm. They want to play it. It's the whole play big or go home point of view.
Yeah, always the home run, not the base hit.
Yeah. That's valid. That's valid. Just not the core of my work. But kind of two ways to approach this. One is the one I just reviewed with you, which is the stages, and then stage 1, blah, blah, blah. If I'm going to do play big or play go home, it's not going to be in stage 1. It's going to be in momentum.
Yeah. Well, that's where
because in momentum. Go ahead.
Oh, that's where the or more is always. That's why I love that, and exactly. I always have that in my head when I'm setting a goal. I hear Kelly from years ago, just in my head, or more.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's like. Yes, it's not. It doesn't. If my goal is the base hit, fantastic. While going for that base hit, I hit it out of the park and it's a home run.
Love it.
Fantastic.
Love it. But again, I don't want to make the other way wrong. It's just not. It's not how I play. But in momentum, I would go for the moon. Why? Because if you miss a target in momentum, it doesn't collapse the whole game.
There you go.
Because you had such a
solid. Let me repeat that. If you miss a target in momentum, it doesn't collapse the whole game. You're still doing very well. So that's the time to fool around with that. In stage one, in concentration, you miss a target, you've got to start over. Because the only way to create momentum is to hit and seed short-term targets consistently. And I know this like I know my name. So it's both. It's just, when do you do it?
I'm like a very visual person. So like, I think I like see things. It's like, for me, you explaining it this way, it's like building a house, but you don't have the framework, but you're like building the pool and the jacuzzi and the
Right.
pool in the backyard.
Great.
But you
Love
don't
it.
even have this yet, right? Like, you got to start here,
Yeah.
and then we can play around.
Love it. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Sounds
I
like
don't
my
have
parents' house. It's been a work in progress for 40 years.
Well, heaven help me. I still love to play. You know, it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
And I think the confidence is different too. Like, if you were to set something huge in stage one, don't get it, then it's like, but if you already are having momentum, it's like, okay, that didn't work. Now let's go to the next thing, right? Like,
That's really absolutely correct, Mackenzie, because part of the value of hitting and exceeding short-term targets, in addition to creating momentum, which is the external, the result side, but the internal value is certainty.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing like it.
Oof. I love this.
Well, Kelly, we could talk for days.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed this.
It's really
And-
fun. Yeah, it's really
And,
fun.
we've got to be aware of the clock. And so, is there anything that you want to leave our listeners and our viewers with before we wrap up?
Just be honest with yourself about, what you really care about, and will be unrelenting about.
Hmm.
And then you got a chance.
I love it.
Beautiful.
Starting with honesty. Well,
Yeah.
Kelly, thank you so much. Really sincerely.
Thank you.
Oh, it was so fun.
Thank you. That was
When,
so
when
great.
you came to us and said that, just so everyone listening in, we got a lovely message from Kelly one day that said, "Hey, if you were to ever ask me to be on the podcast, by the way, my answer would be yes." I was like, "Oh my God, that's so exciting." So,
I should say this to you. After this is published, I get private messages, people saying, "Do you do coaching?" And what I want to say is, this would not come through me. So if they want any information about that, talk to you, talk to Mackenzie. We would talk about it. It would go through PSI, because
Great.
I wouldn't be meeting them if I wasn't talking with you.
for sure.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So anybody wants to get a hold of Kelly, has interest in coaching with Kelly, just reach out to us at podcast@PSIseminars.com.
Thank you for joining us today for the PSI Podcast.
If today's conversation sparks something for you, don't let it stop here. Share this episode with someone who's ready for their next breakthrough, and be sure to subscribe so you never miss an opportunity to grow. I'm Tim Bowen.
And I'm Mackenzie O'Kelly. Until next time.